Hello. Yeah. Full screen कर लो। हाँ, उसी से हाँ, full हो गई। ऐसे। Okay, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. Can you listen me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, friends. Uh, Yesterday I had given the preliminary idea of consolidation, uh, but I was just noticing that uh, probably there was not good response from the students. So I thought, let me just explain you through the PowerPoint presentation. I hope you like it, and thereafter I will use this tablet also to explain you more things. So ये आगे क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहा है? हम्म? इस पे एक बार इधर इधर इस पे स्क्रीन पे okay friends, consolidation refers to the compression or settlement that soils undergo as a response of placing loads onto the ground. So yesterday also I had told you that uh, for the consolidation, the two requirements are there, that it should be clay soil, clay, and it should be saturated soil. Then only the consolidation shall take place. And consolidation takes place only when some load is there, either the self load of the soil or some external loads applied on this. So when a saturated clay is loaded externally, these loads produce corresponding increase in the vertical effective stress. So all of you know it very well that in the last so many lectures, you have already understood that the stresses are developed. Yesterday also I started my discussion by saying the very first sentence that whenever the stresses are there, the strains are obviously there. And here the strains are what? The deformation, the settlement or the consolidation. Okay. So due to a load Q applied at the ground level, the stresses and pore pressures are increased at A, and this leads to settlements occurring over a long time. So let us say this is any point A and you are applying the load. So obviously friends, there will be rise in the pore pressure. So we call it excess hydrostatic pressure. In one of the lectures I had told why do we call it excess hydrostatic pressure, because some pressure was already there. Excess hydrostatic means some pressure which is additionally developed now due to application of the load. That's why it is called excess hydrostatic pressure. So whenever the delta U, that is the excess hydrostatic pressure, is developed, obviously some effective stress is developed, and the total stress is called this plus this, delta U plus this thing. So settlement versus time graph is seen like this, and I had told you that as the time increases, the settlement also increases in case of clay soils, remember. But in case of sand or cohesionless soil, no, it is not like this. Okay. So consolidation is a time dependent process, and in some soils it may take long time, even up to 100 years. Remember, so even it can take up to 100 years to achieve the complete settlement. The amount of soil volume change that will occur is often one of the governing design criteria of a project, because in every project, as a civil engineer, none of us will be interested that the buildings should settle. So, so this is the one of the governing design criteria of a project. If the settlement is not kept to tolerable limit, the desired use of the structure may be impaired and the design life of the structure may be reduced. It is therefore important to have a means of predicting the amount of soil compression or consolidation. Yesterday, you remember I had told that your father may ask you, your boss may ask you that tell me if settlement is there or not. If settlement is there, then tell me how long it will continue. Right? Yesterday I had told you this thing. So it is also important to know the rate of consolidation. Means what is the frequency of consolidation? What is the rate of consolidation? Means say 1 mm in how many years? So rate of consolidation is important as well as the total consolidation is equally important. So as I had told, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is a classic example of consolidation. I have visited this structure. I have visited this structure 2 times. So it is leaning towards south. And if I draw the plan of this is the plan, for example, plan of the foundation of the Leaning Tower. Then this is south side. This all is the marine clay. Marine. So that's why it is leaning towards south. Same is true with the structure which is called Palacio de las Velas. This is in Mexico City. Here the total settlement is 9 feet. 9 feet is almost 1-story building. So you see, so here the ground floor became basement and the first floor became ground floor. So what are the causes? The compression in the soil is caused by deformation of soil particles. Then this is also very important. It is also due to relocation of the soil particles. So yesterday I had shown you this curve. So I had shown you that when you withdraw this load, this goes back, but when you apply the load, this goes like this. So this point does not go here. This does not go here. Because of what? Because of the relocation of particles. Some particles must have changed their shape as a result of loading. Then majorly expulsion of water or air from the void space. Most of the settlements of structure on clay is mainly due to volumetric change. So always there is a volumetric change in the soil. So say this is solid plus water, say it is any soil structure. When you press it, then water is reduced. So there is a volume change. Here the volume is now this much as compared to original volume this much. And at the same time, there will be expulsion of water. So some water will be expelled out of the voids. Now, what is the difference between compaction and consolidation? It is a general question, sometimes given in the short notes or sometimes even asked during the UPSC interviews or any professional interviews. So difference in compaction and consolidation is basically here in the compaction, there is expulsion of air. Expulsion of air. Here expulsion of water. Now, this is compaction is an instantaneous process. It is applicable to all soils. What is consolidation? It is a time-dependent process applicable to clay soils only. This you should remember. It can occur over hundreds of years. Then compaction, it is applicable to unsaturated soils. Decrease in air voids in case of compaction. Now, consolidation is applicable to saturated soils. There is a decrease in water voids. Air voids do not exist here because in the voids, water is fully filled up. There is no air. Here, in this case of compaction, the dry density increases, water content does not change. Okay. Here, the dry density increases, but water content is reduced. Water content is reduced. So you see, this is compaction, this is consolidation. So during consolidation, pore water of the water in the voids of the saturated clay gets squeezed out. So here in the case of compaction, air is also there, water is also there, solid also. So air is reduced. Some air, only little air is left. Then water and solids. Here, no air was already there. No air. Water, solids were there. The water is reduced. So water is now only reduced to this much. This is spring analogy. This I had explained yesterday only. This also immediate consolidation, primary consolidation, secondary consolidation also I had explained yesterday. So the immediate consolidation is caused by elastic deformation. Primary consolidation is caused as a result of volume change in saturated cohesive soils due to exclusion of water. And secondary consolidation occurs in saturated cohesive soils as a result of plastic adjustment of soil particles. So clay soils undergo consolidation settlements not only under the action of external loads, that is surcharge load, but also under its own weight, as I said in the beginning of today's lecture, right? So that is called weight of the soil that exists above the clay, because above the clay there can be sand or there can be gravel. So that is called geostatic load. Clay soils also undergo settlement when dewatered. You know, when you do the pumping, as I explained in the case of permeability chapter, that you can install a hand pump or you can install a submersible pump. So when you do the dewatering, then also the water is expelled out from the voids. So because of that also, the effective stresses on the clay are increased and the clay can undergo the settlement. So due to excessive pumping also. So coarse grained soils do not consolidate. This you should remember. So this you should always remember. So this also I had explained yesterday that soils are often subjected to uniform loading over large areas from wide foundations, fields or embankments, and under such conditions, the soil which is remote from the edges of the loaded area undergoes vertical strain but no horizontal strain. Means for the consolidation, the vertical strains is the prerequisite. The compressive, this also I had shown you yesterday, the compressibility of soils under one-dimensional compression can be described from a decrease in the volume of voids with the increase of effective stress. Obviously, when stress is increased, the voids are reduced. So this relation is expressed like this: stress is increasing and void ratio is decreasing. So this also yesterday I had told you that coefficient of compressibility is expressed as AV, and this also yesterday I had explained you. This parameter also yesterday I explained you. This is called coefficient of volume compressibility, that is MV. This is AV upon 1 plus E naught. E naught is the initial void ratio, means before the loading is applied. Now, this also yesterday I had explained you, friends. Let us say this is point A, this is point B, this is point C, this is point D, then this is E, this is F. So ABC is a curve which shows the void ratio versus effective stress. This is on log scale. So when the load is withdrawn, this goes back. So there is expansion. There is expansion of the soil. Again, you apply the load, there is a compression again. And after the compression, when this curve crosses this point E, this follows the same path as the path of ABC. You know, this follows the same line. CF is in the same line as the ABC line. So as if the no expansion took place, the curve will follow the same path. So this is a very popular curve. This curve is also known as, E curve. E log. So this is very important, and the slope of this curve, this slope, this gives us the value of CC, coefficient of compression index. Now let us try to understand further. Although I have explained already this curve, so OP, this thing, the same thing I have already explained. So let me come to this point. If the current effective stress, that is S dash, effective is equal to pre-consolidated stress. What does it mean? Pre-consolidated stress means before the consolidation. Let us say this is the ground level, this is any soil mass at some depth Z. So before the application of the external load, whatever some stresses were there, that is called pre-consolidation stress. So if the current effective stress is equal to the pre-consolidation stress, then the deposit is said to be normally consolidated, NC. But if the current effective stress is less than the pre-consolidated stress, then the soil is said to be over-consolidated, that is OC. So this you should remember. I can repeat it. If the current stress is equal to the pre-consolidated stress, means the stress now is equal to the pre-consolidation stress even after loading, let us say, it is called normally consolidated soil. If the current, means the present effective stress, is less as compared to the pre-consolidated stress, then the soil is said to be over-consolidated because it is already pre-consolidated. So this normally consolidated, and yes, please.
Excuse me, sir. So, won't the stresses on different level will be different?
Obviously,
Like,
I am considering, you are right. I am considering when it is all homogeneous soil. It is all homogeneous clay.
okay.
And at this point, this is Z dash. So it will be gamma Z dash. So at different location, it will be different stress. Okay.
So,
Is that clear?
my question was ki, like you are saying that if the effective stress is same as the pre-consolidation stress, so
Due to
there may
solution.
be some layer, where the current stress is equal to pre-consolidation stress, but there may be layers, yeah, there may be particles where it is more or less. So how can you
Yes.
generalize it for all the level of soil particles?
Well, it depends on the saturation level, because on different layers, the saturation level may be different. Right? For example, the water table is here. So here this is more consolidated. Here there may be less saturated. So that's why the two conditions are defined normally consolidated, and these are defined in terms of the effective stress. And total stress I had already defined is equal to the effective stress plus the pore water pressure. So pore water pressure may be different at different layers. So therefore, there can be two possible situations: the normally consolidated situation or the over consolidated situation. So more you will understand when we will discuss something more. Now
Okay.
you see here, yeah. So the distance from the normal consolidation line. Now I am coming to your question. The distance from the normal consolidation line has an important influence on soil behavior. This is described numerically by the OCR, that is over consolidated ratio, which is defined as the ratio of pre-consolidation stress to the current effective stress. Right? Is that okay? Note that when the soil is normally consolidated, OCR is normally equal to 1 because this is equal to this one. Settlements will generally be much smaller for structures built on over consolidated soils. This is a very important point. This is a sort of general knowledge point. Most soils are over consolidated to some degree. This can be due to shrinking and swelling of the soil on drawing and rewetting, changes in the groundwater levels, and unloading due to erosion of overlying strata. So this answers your questions. Now for Nancy soil, that is normally consolidated soils, the plot of E versus log P can be approximated to be a straight line, and the slope of this line is defined as CC. This I have already explained yesterday also. Now we will discuss the Terzaghi's theory of 1D consolidation. Sometimes I remember in one of the years I had given this as one question. So because there is a limitation of the online classes, so but I will try my best to explain you. But still, I will suggest that you can refer some book also whenever you have a free time. There can be 1D consolidation, there can be 2D consolidation, and there can be 3D consolidation also. So let us start with the one-dimensional consolidation. So there are many assumptions for understanding the 1D consolidation behavior of the soil. First thing is that compression and flow are vertical, means say this is the soil mass. The compression is in one dimension, vertical. So Darcy's law is valid, means Q is equal to Ki or V is equal to Ki. The soil is homogeneous. We believe that it is a homogeneous soil mass. Then it is completely saturated. Then soil grains and water are both incompressible. Then strains are small. Virtually no change in thickness due to load increments, and K and AV remains constant. K is the permeability. AV I have already defined. Then there is unique relationship independent of time between void ratio and effective stress, that is dE is equal to AV into d sigma, while AV is assumed constant over the stress increment. See, then the total stress increases with additional vertical load is first applied when the, you see, so the behavior with the time is that excess pore pressure with the time, you see, this reduces. Subsequently, there will be flow from regions of higher axis pore pressure to regions of lower axis pore pressure, causing dissipation. So this is effective versus time, this is pore pressure versus time, and this is consolidation versus time. So this is third is the effective stress will change and the soil will consolidate with the time as shown in this curve. Now you refer this this figure, but I will also use this board to explain you some more things. Before this figure, let me try to explain you by some other figure. Let me search some space. Okay, let me try to use this space. Let us say this soil mass I am redrawing. Let us say this is the soil mass. And this soil mass, this is clay. The thickness is H. You don't refer this figure for the time being. Don't see this figure. Now friends, this is clay. The thickness of this clay is H. This is H. And here this is sand. This is sand. This line, vertical line is a filter. It is a filter. It is a filter. So it is sand, as I said. This is also sand, and clay is saturated. So long I am discussing consolidation chapter, you presume that clay is there which is saturated. Now, obviously, when I will press this clay, when I will apply some stress, because on both sides of clay, the sand is there, and sand will facilitate flow of water. So it will provide a good drainage. So in this clay, this is any soil mass, small, which is like this. But you don't see this figure. Now, let me attach some piezometers. This is piezometer 1. This is piezometer 2. This is piezometer 3. Piezometer 4. There can be n number of piezometers. Now friends, you will have to visualize a few things. Don't see this figure. Just whatever, I mean, you remain with me only. Whatever I am explaining, you just remain with me. Let me just define a few points. Let us say this is AB and H I have already defined. Okay. Now, in the consolidation, it is a time-dependent behavior of the clay soil under the application of load. Now, you are compressing this clay soil mass. Obviously, because both side drainage is there, it will allow water to go out. There will be squeezing. So obviously, there will be rise of water in the capillary tubes, and or let us say in the initial stage. Let me go back a little. I have not still applied any pressure. It is a saturated clay. I had already explained long back about when I was discussing the flow net, when I was discussing the equipotential lines. If it is saturated, I am supplying water to this. I am supplying water to this clay soil. Obviously, there will be rise in the capillary tubes, rise of water. Let us say the water at the T is equal to T0. This is the water in the capillary tubes up to this stage. So at time is equal to T0. Oh, now in this case, friends, in this case, when T is equal to T0, the pore pressure rise, pore pressure is delta sigma. Now you are compressing it. When you are compressing it, both sides sand is there, so water is going to be expelled out. So when water is reduced and you are not supplying any water now, rather you are squeezing out water. So even a layman will agree with me that when the almost entire water is gone out from the clay, the water level in these capillary tubes will be at AB line. So this is, I can say AB line is the final time TF at T is equal to this thing, and in this case I can say that pore water pressure is almost zero. Now it is a time dependent phenomena. It is a time dependent phenomena. So I can say that at different timings, say T is equal to T1, T is equal to T2, there will be the curves like this. There will be curves at different time, at different timings. There will be different curves at T is equal to T1, T2, like this. So now let us say, after understanding this kind of phenomena. Let me also tell you, friends, that these lines are called isochrones. Isochrones, which are the points joining the levels in capillary tube at different timings. And this is the general equation we should always remember, that delta sigma is equal to delta sigma dash plus u bar. This I am repeatedly telling you at different points of time and different lectures also. Now, this you all agree that what is u equal to? This is h into gamma w. This I had explained earlier also. So, and what is the hydraulic gradient? What is the hydraulic? Because we had said in the assumption that Darcy's law is valid. Hydraulic gradient I is what? H upon L. It's a general equation. So we can also say that hydraulic gradient I is delta H upon delta Z. And here, from here, H is what? H is U upon gamma W. So I can say that I is equal to 1 upon gamma W into delta U upon delta Z. Now, the next is the rate of change of U bar along the depth of layers represents hydraulic gradient. So V is equal to, we know it is equal to Ki is equal to K, and I is already defined 1 upon gamma W del U bar upon del Z. So the yes. So the rate of change of, next is the, so the rate change of velocity, rate of change of velocity along the depth of layer is given as del V upon del Z is equal to K upon gamma W into delta 2 U bar upon del Z square. Means just we are taking the differential of the previous equation on the last page. Now, in this figure, we are considering a small element of size dx, dy and dz. So we are considering the small element of dx, dy and dz, and means the element of size dx, dz and of dy perpendicular to xz plane. So if velocity of water and into element, if velocity of water at entry of element is v, then at exit it will be considered as V plus del V upon del Z into dz. This is the exit velocity. Now, the quantity of water entering into soil element is V into velocity, that is into area, dx dy. Q is equal to area into velocity, because Q is equal to area into velocity. Q is what? Quantity of water. So V is velocity, area is dx dy. So it is under gravity. So the net quantity and the quantity of that leaving shall be V plus, as explained in the previous page also, so the net quantity, so net quantity delta Q shall be del V upon del Z into dx dy dz. Now, after this, there is a long equation. There is a long equations, and there will not be any advantage of explaining on this small board. I can simply say, friends, that because it's a long equations, then Fourier series, you must have read the Fourier series also. Fourier series also in your +2 or maybe in BTech first year, second year in mathematics. So after that only finally the equation is arrived, which you can see here, that the flow equation is computed like this. But just to save the time, you see, I am not explaining you all these things, but finally you get the equation, flow equation like this. So after this, let me tell you that, like in case of the clay soil, this is clay soil, we provide the sand on both sides, or there can be some situations where the clay is there, but we are unable to provide any drainage path. There is no drainage path, only we are compelled to provide the drainage path only in one direction. There are many situations. So to handle this, you see why I am telling you this thing, that we never want that our all buildings should meet the fate of Leaning Tower of Pisa. Our buildings should be safe, our structures should be safe. So therefore, it is our primary responsibility to ooze out the water, the pore water or the hydrostatic pressure from the ground, so that our buildings are safe. Means we should remove the water if it is saturated clay site. For that we provide drainage. Although I shall be discussing the solutions in the three-dimensional consolidation chapter, but just to give you an idea, we either pump out the water till the RCC raft is laid, or we provide some drainage galleries, drainage path. This is the solution, that it is a drainage gallery. Let me tell you in very simple terms. For example, this is say ground level, and this is all saturated clay. It is all saturated clay. I want to construct my house here, and let my house be 3-story, 4-story, or it is a multi-story building like Mukesh Ambani. Obviously, if I don't care for this saturated clay, if I simply close my eyes and ignore the very presence of saturated clay, this building will sink or it will collapse one day. So therefore, I should remove this saturation. How can I do it? I am giving you the very simple solution. I am giving you the very simple solution. Suppose before the construction of the foundation, I provide, let us say, some boreholes into this saturated clay and fill this borehole with sand. I fill this borehole with sand. And before construction of any foundation, let me bring or import some soil and stack this soil, let us say for 1 year or for 2 years. What will happen? Due to the weight of this soil, green color soil, obviously this pressure will be exerted onto the saturated clay, and due to this pressure, the water will try to come close to these drains. And water always searches its path. Because it is sand, sand easily facilitates the flow of water. Therefore, water will easily travel upward due to capillary action, and it will reach here. It will reach here. Because I am constantly applying load by way of this external soil. Because this load, this soil, this entire soil, as yesterday I was telling you, the soil is represented by a spring. So soil will behave as if it is a balloon filled with water. When the balloon is filled with water and you press this balloon and open its lid, obviously water starts coming out. Same is here. You are applying pressure through the soil, external soil. So obviously water will try to escape out. The stage will come after, say, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months time, that the entire water is drained out through this sandy drains. This is part of three-dimensional consolidation. This is part of 3D consolidation, because here we are making the prefabricated vertical drains. P means prefabricated, V means vertical, D means drains, PVD. So this is the simplest example I am explaining you, telling you that our primary duty is to remove the hydrostatic pressure. Otherwise, it will be the fate of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. For that, friends, we define a parameter which is called time factor. T is equal to CV into small t upon h square. Now, what is this h here? What is this CV? Let me explain you. Here CV is equal to coefficient of consolidation. Coefficient of consolidation. This T is time. What is time? I will explain you. H is this H. This is H. This is H. H is the thickness of the clay strata. Thickness of the clay strata. Thickness of the clay strata. I said that this T I will explain you. Now let me explain you. You refer this figure again, this figure. You refer this figure again. You refer this figure again, this one. In the yesterday's lecture and in today's lecture also, I used one term repeatedly, the rate of consolidation and the time. Suppose you are a multi-millionaire person, you want to install your industry at this type of soil, and you know it that if your factory starts giving the production in 2 years time, you will start earning money. But if you want to start earning money at a faster pace, then you have to spend more money. Very simple. You have to spend more towards the foundation. If you can't afford the expenditure towards foundation, you will say under compulsion that, okay, let me wait for 5 years because I cannot afford to spend this much of money for making the vertical sand drains. Suppose I am your consultant, you come to me with this kind of problem. I may or I should be able to tell you that if you provide 1000 vertical drains, then the entire hydrostatic pressure shall be removed in 2 months' time. If you provide 5000 vertical drains, then probably this time may be reduced. This may be 1 month. If I say that you provide instead of 5000, you provide 50,000 drains, then time will be 15 days only. So 5,000 drains or 10,000 drains or 50,000 drains, that involves money. But now you see in terms of the output. So this, in this equation, this T is that time which you will ask your customer, you will ask your client that tell me in how much time you want to reduce this hydrostatic pressure. Your client may tell you that, okay, I can wait for 1 month's time, 2 months' time. So plug in this time here and find out that in how much time your entire ground shall be free from the consolidation problem. So here T is called the time factor. And this, yeah, one more thing, let me explain you. I had drawn this figure that there can be either one side drainage or there can be both side drainage. There can be either both side drainage. So if it is a both side drainage, then this is taken as h by 2. Then this is taken as, or let me explain you, let me in a very simple language, let me tell you that TV is equal to, you remember this equation rather, CV into T upon D squared. So here D will be H by 2, D will be H by 2 if double drainage. If double drainage. So this is this only this thing you have to remember. Now, generally we give some question in the tutorial also, which we are definitely going to give you. Now, in every soil mechanics book, you will find a table. You will find a table. You will find a table you will find a table in which this is the consolidation percentage. Then this is a TV. TV is a factor which is given ready-made, right? So this is given for, there are two types of table. One is for single drainage, or there is another table for the double drainage. So it is 5% consolidation. U percentage means percentage consolidation. How much consolidation you want? 5%, 10%, again depending upon the money you have. So TV for this is 0.06, 0.002. This table is for double drainage. This particular value is for double drainage. For say 25%, this is 0.049. Say this 50% is 0.197. For 100%, for 95% consolidation is 1.29, like this. This is for double drainage. And for single drainage, let me use this table only, that for 25%, this is nearly 0.14 something. For 50, this is 0.294, like this. For 95%, it has some value, right? So these are the values for double single. These are the values for double drainage. So these are given in every soil mechanics book. So friends, from this relationship, T is D square upon CV into TV. TV is given standard values. You can compute the time required for that particular soil, for which CV you have to calculate in the laboratory, and you can find out according to the drainage path. You plug in that value, you can compute the time, that in that much time, how much means how much percentage of consolidation you want to achieve. Okay, so thank you very much. Today I will stop here. Then Thursday again we will have more discussion on this chapter. So thank you very much. Okay, can you listen me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you for today.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, when you send this presentation, can you keep the ink and annotations here? What you have written on
Yeah,
the
surely.
file?
Yeah. Of course. इसको बता देना, साथ ही भेजनी पड़ेगी। हाँ, अभी तो आज नहीं भेज रहे हो। ठीक, अभी तो बहुत सारी है ना, स्लाइड थी।
sir.